breath we give away, it'll never be the same. I'm chasing somebody who won't ever ease the pain, but I don't want half of your heart, heart, heart. You can have it back if it's only half of your heart.
the live stream. I'm just going to switch cameras here. Bear with me for a sec. There we go. Okay. On the live stream. First of all, my name is Brian. This is Build It with Brian. We're up to system build number 36. We're trying out a new case today. The Cooler Master Q300L. So I'm already seeing in the comments that someone said this case is horrible. Well, we'll find out. We'll see how bad it is. We're doing a build with it today. Hopefully it's not that bad, but we'll see. You know, I've had bad cases too before, so and then we never buy them again, and then that's it. So let me go switch over to the overhead here, and let's just go over the quick parts really quickly before we start. Before we get into the case, we have all this stuff. We have an ASUS motherboard. This is a B760M AYM Wi-Fi D42 RAM. We have a 16 gigabyte kit. We have, for our hard drive, just a 500 gigabyte drive. This is basically like a small mini workstation. We have an i5 12400F. We also have a graphic card, which we're just going to temporarily put in because the customer is upgrading from one system to another. So basically, we will be doing that as well. So, but we don't have the graphic card here, so we're just going to use a temporary graphic card for our own purposes, so we can at least boot this system and get it working. And then we're gonna, when we deliver the system to the customer, then we'll take out the card and swap it out. All right, let's get to starting to build, and then we're gonna start building the main components, then we're gonna put it right into the case after that point. So let me get a knife out. All right. Now we're just gonna open up everything. Oh, it's actually sealed. All right. We're gonna start with the motherboard first and take off the accessories, which is the Wi-Fi antenna. We'll keep that on the side. Just get everything out. I/O shields, dreaded I/O shield. Some SATA cables, which we're not going to really use, but we're just going to put off to the side. We'll give that to the customer so they have it. And obviously, little mounts for the M.2, a manual, which we really don't need, shouldn't need, and we'll put this back. So I'm just going to build right on top of the box, just so we have a little leverage. Great reason to be here, different strokes for different folks. Wish I had photos of my towers in the early 2000s. You have a good laugh. Yep, yeah. We don't, I don't know, weren't they all fish tanks back in the 2000s? I mean, like, they were all like, you know, those old tubes, you know, the tubes with the, before they went full RGB. I mean, like, it looked like fish tank tubes. Anyway, thank God we're past that. Okay, motherboard, very simply put, very simple layout. I don't know if we can get a little closer here just to be sure we got everything. We have our M.2 socket right here, which we're going to put our new drive, graphic card slot, another M.2 for probably another drive. Yep, that's probably for another drive. We have RAM sockets on this side. Only one side opens up, the other side is just push in. Your CPU socket, your LGA socket to be exact, for Intel. I think it's an LGA 1200? 1700? I'm really behind. 1700. It's an LGA 1700 socket. Fan connectors all around the board. Power connection itself for the motherboard itself. USB for the front panel connectors. Just going to go around really quickly about what's on the board. SATA connections, if you guys are going to use those. Your front panel connectors are down here. Very hard to read, but you know they're also labeled on which one's which. USB front panel connectors probably going to be used. We're not going to really use any RGB lighting, but if you want to, there are some lighting connections. Have some audio connections out for the front panel if you want to use those. For its back panel, okay, not too bad. Back panel, we're going to have USB 2.0, HDMI. If we're not going to use this because obviously it doesn't have onboard video, so we're going to eliminate that. USB 3.2, I think. It should be 3.2. I'll double check. Ethernet, Wi-Fi for the antennas, and obviously your standard audio, which is green for usually your audio outs. All right, we're gonna start the build. We're just gonna put the processor in first. Just double check the socket, make sure there's no bent pins, which there are not. We're going to open up the processor. What am I doing? Let's go. Okay. Comes with a regular manual, a little sticker if you care for it, sticker badge, box off to the side. We don't need that. Processor itself will be installed. It has little arrows, a little arrow in the left corner. That left corner arrow will match the left corner arrow on the socket itself. Just down the left corner. So take this out carefully. Come on. There we go. Let's get that out. Hold it by its sides, obviously, not underneath. You don't want to put your fingers on the pads. Just want to drop it in the socket. Should line up. Should be all the way down. Just make sure all the corners are in, everything's lined up. Then you want to push this down. The top is going to pop off. There it goes. Push the handle back down, and now you've got your CPU mounted. We're just going to do the standard stock cooler. It's fine for this type of scenario. Again, it's just a simple workstation. It's nothing really high end. So if you're going really high end with a higher end processor, you may want to change out your cooling solution. This one's perfectly fine for this scenario. Standard Intel cooler. It's got these little clips on the side. These all line up with the motherboard down here on these holes, and they will pop all the way through. Obviously, it already has pre-applied thermal paste. We're just going to leave that. If you want to apply your own, you would wipe this off with isopropyl alcohol and then just reapply new thermal paste. But we're going to use what's here. I'm not going to waste anything. So just going to line everything up. Push it in. Clicks in. Try to do corner to corner. Once everything's clicked in, just turn the motherboard over. Verify that your processor, your heatsink is all the way through. You should have 4 little feet coming through, little black feet there, popping through, and they should have come all the way through, and they should be locked. So just make sure that that's there so you know it's mounted evenly. You want to take your CPU fan, plug it into the one that says CPU fan on the motherboard, and we're going to put in the RAM next. That's it for CPU. There's not really much to it. If you're doing more advanced cooling, you may want to read the manual on how to install the fan. Depends on third-party coolers are a little bit different. They're all going to be a little different. RAM-wise, this is DDR4 memory. It's a little older, but the board is still good, so memory's still sold. Just take the plastic piece off. Just a little piece that Corsair leaves on there. You're going to take the RAM. The RAM has this little notch in the middle. You're going to line up that notch with the one on the motherboard, and you're going to line it up the correct direction, hopefully, and just slide in place. Should click in. Should hear it pop. Repeat the same step for the second piece of RAM if you have 2 pieces. If you have only 1 piece of RAM, I recommend you buy 2 because DDR4 it should be run in pairs. You're gonna have the best performance out of it. So you want to also have matched pairs. Buy it as a kit, if possible. Just pop it in. There you go. If your motherboard has 4 RAM sockets, just look at the motherboard. It will tell you which ones are in dual channel. You'll want to make sure to populate those 2. If you have all 4, then you just populate all 4. It's really easy. Let me just clean up some plastic. Let's get rid of this. Okay. Next thing we're going to do is the M.2, which is going to be installed right there. We're going to put it in the most primary socket, I think. The motherboard does tell you which one is By 4. Actually, they're both by 4. It doesn't matter. They're both by 4. Okay. But we don't put it in the top one anyway, just because I'm used to doing it that way. Doesn't really matter. This board, it doesn't matter because they both say by 4, Gen by 4, so it doesn't matter. We're going to install these little bits. Comes with these little screws. These are really hard to lose, so we're just going to put that right over here. It's really easy to lose, I mean. I'm going to put the little standoffs in. I put both in. I usually put both screws in also, just in case we want to upgrade the motherboard later. We already have the standoff ready to go. We can add a drive without having to go through a mess. Let me get a smaller screwdriver for this. Give me 1 second. Okay. Need a really small screwdriver. I'm just going to use an iFixit kit. You can use whatever small screwdriver you got. It really doesn't matter. Let's see. This one should be this one. No, too small. This small. I might choosing too small. There we go. Perfect. Okay, so I'm just going to put that down onto the board. Screw it in. I think this is all too big, actually. Yeah, that's the right size. Okay, just weird. All right, do the same thing. Repeat the same step for the other socket, just so we have it. This is just the standoff piece. I'm going to put the screw in next. The screw is a, what is this screw? It is a really small Phillips. That looks like it's a 0, which is size 0 Phillips. I'm going to put the one that we are not obviously using in first. There we go. Set the low speed down. And we're going to put the one for the NVMe that we're actually going to put in right now. The NVMe also comes with a screw. You don't need the screw. We already have one that comes with the board, so you'll have a spare. This board does not support an SSD version of this. It only supports NVMe. NVMe is denoted by 1 notch. If you have another notch here, that is an SSD version, and that is not supported by this board. A lot of new boards do not support the SSD option. It only supports the NVMe or PCI Express one. So it's a little different, but if you're upgrading from, let's say, an older machine and have an older hard drive, you probably want to make sure that that has the newest speed. If you don't, they say like the little kits that you can convert to and use a USB like external drive and then just transfer it to the new one. But you're still gonna have to buy a drive, which is gonna suck. Make sure it's all back together. All right. So that's installed. By the way, I just put it on a 45-degree angle and then I pushed it down on top of the stand and then screwed it down. So not too hard. There's a little bit of plastic, which I just realized. Oh man, it's a lot of plastic. All right, there's only a little bit. Okay, that's it. There's only a little bit of plastic over this. Let's get rid of this out of the way. Put the box away. All right. So at this point, that's all you got to do for the motherboard. I'm just going to tuck this wire under, so we have a little bit of space here. Probably shouldn't use it. You know what? Let's not use a knife. Let's not use a knife, Brian. Okay. Let's use a flathead here. Just tuck this between the RAM. Let's get a little bit of cable management going before I put it all the way into the case, so nothing gets kind of stuck. Also, you just don't want that flopping in the wind because, you know, this fan is going to be spinning. It'll get caught in there eventually. It'll be a bad day for you. So, all right, we don't need this, I don't think. Oop, hit that, sorry. Okay, so motherboard's done. we're ready for the case. I'm going to take the Wi-Fi thing, put it over there. We don't really need that for now. I/O shield we will need, but hopefully we'll not forget. SATA's extra, throw that over there. And let's get to the case build and see how bad this thing really is, because everybody keeps saying it's pretty bad. Let's see how really bad it is. It's going to be fun, probably. All right, let's take a look. Let me get the case. Oh, man. Okay. It's on the other side. Oh, there we go. Okay. One case. I'll put it down on its side here. So it's on its side. This is, That doesn't look too bad. This is plastic though. Like, this is cheap. I mean, this is plastic. It's not glass. So you're gonna have that. There are 4 screws on the corner to undo this. Probably should use a screwdriver, but we're doing faster, but whatever. I'm gonna leave the plastic film on for right now, just so it keeps it protected, so I don't make too many scratches. Looks like it has a little handle here to lift this up and out. I did like that. This is really thin plastic. Really thin. Yeah. I mean, this isn't a really expensive case either, so we gotta kind of like level up with what we're dealing with here. So plastic's a little cheap. I forgot how much we paid for this thing. I'll have to double check. All right, comes with a regular screw bag, bunch of screws, some wire ties. Put this off to the side for right now. Inside, you got the front panel connectors. They look long enough. They're routed behind the board, which is a little weird. I would probably route it the other way just because it's a little easier. It's set up for micro ATX and mini ITX. It looks like it's set up for mini ITX. Yeah. It has, I mean, from the look of this, it doesn't look that bad, but I haven't put any screws in yet. Let's take a look at the screw package that it comes with. Let me get the wire ties out. Wire ties to the side. All right, so screws. Let's see. You know, if you're looking for a case with a glass side, though, this is definitely not it. This is just, it has a plastic slide. I'm already kind of annoyed by that. Because, I mean, like, how expensive could it be to put a piece of glass instead of plastic? I mean, I don't know. Maybe it is expensive. I don't know. All right, so let's see. We got a lot of screws here. We also got, it did come with a little thing to put the little standoffs down into. The motherboard standoffs are there. They look the same height. They look like the same height. They look a little different though. This one that comes in the package doesn't really have like a little lip here. It's just flat, where these have like a little lip on them. So I guess that's just to hold the board in place. Actually, it only looks like one has a lip, so I guess it's only one to hold the motherboard in place. It's not bad. It is labeled micro ATX, so everything that says M should be lining up with your motherboard. Should be. I'm going to still double check it. I'm going to take the motherboard itself and line everything up and just double check really quickly which one is which. Okay, so it's the lower one. Yeah, it's really only one that's different. The only one that's going to be different is this one down here. So it's going to be this one, this M instead of that M. If that makes sense. So screw these in. Actually, those are really hard to turn. Oof. All right, that's probably why they give you the tool. I will use that in a minute. You know what? I'm not going to use that. I hate that thing. I'm just going to use the mini kit here. This one, the mini thing. Well, that fits perfect. This way. Okay, so I'm just gonna screw in the motherboard standoffs. You know what you know what? Maybe the thing is with this, like usually most cases that I buy, even the cheap ones, really already have these standoffs put in. So I kind of feel like that's where they're saving their money, is just they basically just drilled the holes and then didn't put these in. Where they just thought, oh, you know, somebody's gonna, doesn't really matter, but it is an extra step. I haven't cut my hand on anything yet, so that's good. It means there's no real sharp pieces going on. That's not going all the way down though. Wow. The pre-drilled holes are not that great. I'll be honest, this is really turned to get that in there. They could have drilled the hole a little bit better. Especially for a name brand like Cooler Master, you would think this would be a little bit better. It's not horrible. It's just we're chalking this up to like price, but honestly, even at cheaper cases like this, I find that the other cases are a little bit bigger. They're a little bit, you know, we have like solid metal pieces. Honestly, I think that piece of plastic is really bothering me. I would have rather them just put a piece of metal, honestly. It would have been a better solution. And not even bother with the window. Does come with a case fan. You know, when you look at a case fan, you can kind of know like exactly how the blades are. This is not going to cool a really high amount of airflow. It's going to be one of those case fans that are just kind of like, it'll work, but not work great. This is a 3-pin plug also, so it's not going to have a lot of power adjustments. It's just going to be regular power adjustment. It's not going to be like, you know, PWM adjustment. So you're going to get a little more noise out of this thing than a regular 4-pin. But again, it's a fan, 4 screws, you can take it right out. Yeah, it's not the end of the world. It's just not great. But again, cost of this case is pretty inexpensive, so we gotta still keep that in mind, even if I know as much as I think that's really not an excuse. But we're gonna do the I/O shield. Let's put the I/O shield in. Let's get that out of the way so I don't forget it. Which is weird, this thing has a cover on it. Oh, it does have an I/O shield, okay. All right, that there, okay. Just align it the correct direction. You want to push the little metal pieces up and out of the way so it doesn't contact the board. And you want to make sure you have it labels facing down, which is facing up, so you know, understand, so you can read it. Should be right side up on the outside of the case. Just push it in, be careful, it is a little sharp. If you're new to building, that would be a bad thing. If you cut your finger on it. All right. Moving on. So to put this in, we're just going to move things out of the way a little bit here. All the front panel stuff out of the way. We're going to just drop the board into place. And now I wouldn't say drop it, but you know, obviously place it. Line up the I/O panel with the board before you slide it in. Push it in, click it. It should line up with the screws. Should. Oh, it has like a little notch. Okay, there we go. Got it. So this one's actually notched down here. I don't know if you guys can see that. This one's notched down here, so it allows it to the board to actually push into it. So it clicks the board in place, and now you get all your screws nicely lined up. Let's see which screw I need to use. And of course, nothing is labeled either. Not helpful. I'm going to assume it's this one. Let me just double check. Do we have another piece here? Yeah. If you're not sure which screw goes into what, you can always just take one of the standoffs, screw in a screw to it, and see if it starts to give you pushback, then you know you got the wrong one. If it just slides in, then you got too small of one. So it looks like it's this screw, which is flathead on top and a little bit thicker for the bottom than most of the other ones. And that's your motherboard screw. Regular Phillips, nothing special. Where's my screwdriver? Screwdriver. And I usually do the first one, which is the middle center. Screw that in. You can use any screwdriver. You don't need to use an electric one. I'm just doing this because I'm lazy. All right, let's get that in there. Yeah. That could be a lot of screws. Could be enough though, but it's just barely enough. Okay. Wow. Really? Huh. They don't give you enough black screws. They only give you those, and they give you 4 silver ones. What? Yeah, so they only give you that many black. 1, 2, 3, 4 black, and they give you all the rest of them in silver. Well, that's weird. I mean, it's not a big deal, but it is. Like, why the frig would you give me silver ones? All right, that's just dumb. It's the same thread. I missed one, didn't I? Yeah, maybe one in the corner. One all the way up in the corner. All right. Kind of annoyed that they give you not all black. Can't see what I'm doing. All right, let's turn this a little bit so I can see what I'm doing and not drop a screw that I obviously need. Wow. Let me get the magnet. Get that. All right. Get off. Regular. That's too small. That's perfect. All right, it's going to go with the smaller screwdriver because getting the other screwdriver in there is going to be a pain. It's a little tight to the top. This, oh, you're not seeing this. Put this down. Okay. So here's another gripe I have. This screw that's way down here is getting interrupted by this piece here. It's on an angle, so now I gotta use a smaller screwdriver to get underneath this bridge to get underneath there to put the screw in. That could be a little bit annoying. I mean, the design is not bad, it's just not great. Like for a first-time user, I would not want to deal with that little piece here to get in there to get, you know, to get that done. So, where's the fan connectors? I just pointed them out 2 minutes ago. Oh, it's down at the bottom. Okay, this goes down this way. That goes under that. And the fan connector goes right down the bottom. We're just going to use the 3-pin. That's going to get in the way of the graphic card. Is there one up top? This motherboard has one up top. It has one on the front for this. You know, we'll just change this to over here. We're just going to get this out of the way. I know it's kind of going across the CPU fan, not a very big fan of that, but let's change that up this way and then flip this over to here, just for now. I don't like the fact that that goes above the other thing. All right, we'll have to figure out a tie for that. All right, we'll start tying that up when I get the power supply in. All right, so power supply is going to go in down to the bottom, it looks like. I left the silicone packet in there, whoops. All right, so at the bottom is where the power supply goes. It does have a vent on the bottom, so I'm going to probably vent it towards the bottom. Let me get the power supply. And let's see. Knife. Power supply comes with the regular power cord. Gonna put that off to the side. Silicone packet, some manuals, which we don't really need, but we'll keep the manuals to the side. Silicone packets, garbage. This power supply is not modular. It is a Thermaltake 700 watt. That's a smart. It's only an 80 plus. It's again, it's not a high-end workstation. This is fine for this. Okay, let's get this out. Come on, get out. There we go. Okay. So on the power supply itself, you're going to have some numbers on here. The most important numbers you're going to be looking at is your total power going towards the 12-volt rail, which is 700 watts in this case. It's not bad for what it is. Obviously, sometimes that number is a little lower, sometimes a little higher, depending upon the situation. Most of the time, it's lower. Total watt power, though, is 700 watts. You should be able to get more than enough out of this for a regular, simple graphic card. Nothing really too high-end, nothing like NVIDIA, like high-end NVIDIA is not going to work with this. This is really more for like your 1 or 2 generation old AMD graphic card. Should be fine with no problem. Even a 1 or 2 generation old NVIDIA card might be fine, as long as it's like in the 60 series, I think, like 3060, 4060 series is probably fine. Depending upon the wattage. You could always double check just to be sure. Make sure your wattage is more than enough over than what the graphic card's going to require. Plus, you have to also add on your CPU, etc. This CPU is very low voltage, wattage. So you shouldn't have too many problems. Cable connection wise, we're not going to use all of this. There's a lot of stuff here. We're going to use obviously the one for the CPU that's going to go down to the motherboard. They're all labeled, so you shouldn't have any problems, but make sure to not confuse this one with the one for your graphic card. CPU also, there's 2 of them. PCI Express should be labeled PCIe. That's for your graphic card, if you have one. And it comes in a 6 or an 8. You can just pop these together and you make it into an 8. If you got to pop them together, just make sure that they click in before you plug it into your graphic card. So just make sure those are popped together. This is for your motherboard itself. This is 26 pin or 24 pin? It is 26 pin. Connection, this goes down to your motherboard itself. There's only one spot to plug it in. These are all for your peripherals, like your SATA connections, your Molex connectors, if you have any of those. We're not going to use any of these because we don't have any SATA drives. We don't have any extra lighting or fans or any of that stuff. Some fans still use this. I mean, it's kind of old, but it is an option. We're going to take those off to the side. Everything else we're going to utilize, so we're just going to, I'm just going to put this out of the way for now, and then I'm going to install it first. I'm going to take the fan. Fan is going to be facing down in this case. Just because we have ventilation on the bottom, I'd like to try to separate the air a little bit, even as much as I know that that's kind of not going to happen with a case that's fully open. But For our purposes, we're just going to slide this in. Actually, before we do that, before we do that, I'm going to do the front panel connectors. Because if I don't do that, that's going to be hard to reach. This is weird because honestly, this is one of those things where that could be a negative. The fact that the front panel, like if you put the power supply in, that's going to go right here. You're going to have a hard time plugging in all this stuff. So, yeah. I mean, we might have to go in an order today and just do the right thing and go the right way. This doesn't really reach. No, it does reach. Okay. USB 3.0 connection. It's just going to pop onto the board right here. Just be very careful. It is keyed out. It only goes one way. Let's put that in. Rest of the connectors. Front panel connectors are labeled. They're very small. You want to plug them in down onto the motherboard where I showed you guys before. It was just, they're all labeled a certain way. The most important ones to get right are the positive and negative for all the LEDs. So like your HDD LED, that makes sense to make sure you got the right direction. Reset doesn't matter. Reset switch goes either way. It's just a button. It's just a close open button. Power switch, no, power button. Yeah, power button is at the top. Power button doesn't matter again which way it goes. Just gets plugged in on power button. And then power LED. Power LED, there is positive, negative, so make sure you have positive, negative in the right direction. And not the way I have it right now, which I'm going to have to turn a little bit to get to it. Positive, negative. Actually, I do it the right way. Probably see what I'm doing here. This black case is a little bit dark. Come on. Let me add some light on it. Okay. Sorry, studio lights are good, but they're not great for building computers. They're just not the right angle that I need for light. Let's see what I'm doing. Oh, I'm blind. Could be either one. Maybe a little mix of both. Okay, so that's all on there. And we're at the right direction. If you're not sure about which way it goes, it's labeled on the motherboard as well as also in the manual with a little bit bigger picture if you can't see the one on the motherboard. All right, that's all plugged in. We're ready for, oh, we didn't plug in the HD audio. If you use this, that's fine. I mean, most people don't. But the audio is not that great for the front panel. It never ever is. At least in my experience, it's not that great. I always recommend just plugging into the back if possible, if you need to. Anyway. Okay, line up, there we go. It's labeled F audio for front panel audio, so you're all set there. There's only USB 3.0. There's no USB 2.0 on here, so you only have 2 ports for the front. This also is removable. You can remove this stupid thing and put it down like at the bottom or at the top here if you want. It has screw holes that unscrew this. I'm going to leave it where it is because it's perfectly fine where it is. Power button's easily reachable. I think for some of our customers, like if you're connecting, let's say, a hard drive to this unit through one of these ports, I would probably move it down below or up top because, sorry, down below you can't see, but down below here, down here, there we go, down here. You could put it down here, you could put it up here, up at the top. I would recommend either top or bottom if you're going to connect an external drive, just so you can put the drive either on top of the computer or to the bottom of the computer. You don't have to worry about it dangling off the side of the computer. So it's a little minor thing, but it might make a difference to some people. All right, let's get the power supply, and this looks like it's going to be the hard part because there's not much room to run cabling. There's not many hole options to run for cabling. That's what I'm trying to get at. So, but this is not impossible. We just need to kind of work with what we got. You're just going to slide the power supply down and in. Again, I'm facing the power supply downwards, so the fan is going down to the bottom part of the case. I'm going to try to slide this up and in. Oh, what the hell? Okay. All right, there's some kind of weirdness going on with this power supply. I guess this is why people are hating it. There's a... Let me move this forward a little bit. So, why did they do this? They pushed it so it's further inside the case. Oh, so you have more room behind the power supply. That's really friggin' dumb. Okay, well, where's the screws? The screws are in here. So, yeah. The back part of this case has the power supply mounted inside a little bracket. Can I screw this in? No, I gotta take the whole bracket out. What? Why? Okay, now I see why people don't like this case. I think it's the power supply. I really think it's the power supply area. This is, let me take the power supply back out and let me show you guys what I'm talking about. This is so stupid. Who did this? Cooler Master, really? Oh, okay. All right, let me bring this back a little bit. This is dumb. So, I can't point. Here is where you would screw in the power supply, but it's being blocked by this shroud. So I have to unscrew this to take this bracket out. It's kind of dumb. All right, we're on to pretty stupid options here. Okay. I mean, luckily we don't have to do this more than once, but... Oy. So this bracket comes out. Oops, I hit that, sorry. So, really? So I gotta screw this onto the power supply, then I gotta put the whole power supply in there and hope that everything lines up perfectly. Why didn't we just put the power, why didn't we just put screws out here? I don't understand. Why don't we just put like holes here and then now we gotta avoid this whole bracket? Like this bracket has to be more expensive than just putting holes here. All right, anyway. Let me put this back down. Oh, let me get this stupid bracket onto the power supply, which is dumb. Look at those other screws, I think. Okay. What did I just do? Alright, did I just totally lose the screws? Nope. Alright, they're around here somewhere. Okay. Why? I don't know why. This is really dumb. I don't like this thing. It goes this way, I think, right? I rotated too many times. Yeah, that's the way it goes. So, yeah, this is just... It's an extra step that doesn't need to be done. That's the problem. All right, let me get the whole thing out of the way for now. Oh. Okay. All right. Cables. extra brackets that don't make a lick of sense. Oh, look at that. How does this line up? Oh, it doesn't. It doesn't line up flat. Wow. Okay. All right. This could be a deal breaker for a lot of people. I mean, for me, it's fine. I mean, I can live with this. But I can see why someone gets pissed off, because this is not very easy to do. Where if they just left it some screws on the side of the case, you would have been fine. And luckily we don't have to change power supplies very often, but set those down. Okay. Now we're going to put this back in the case. That's just dumb. I didn't use the 4 screws here. Oops. Yeah, it's the same screw, same size screws. All right, so someone says, what should I use? i5 14400F or Ryzen 7 5700X with DDR5 built in? I would go Ryzen 7 5700X with DDR5 built and 5068 gig. Yeah, go with Ryzen 7. You have a better choice because you have DDR5 with that. You can use DDR5 with i5 the 14th gen also, but you're gonna pay a lot more for a motherboard, I think. So I would recommend the Ryzen 7 5700X. Especially if you're doing gaming, which that's what it probably sounds like, or maybe production even. I'm gonna take these stupid filters off because they keep sliding on me. So now to get this thing in here. Okay, carefully without breaking anything. I gotta get past the motherboard. Okay. Oh, you guys don't see this. I'm sorry. It's too close to me. There we go. Okay. Just back a little bit. Cables. 3D animation and gaming. Yes. Ryzen 7 5700X would be a better choice. I think it's mostly cache differences that you're going to really see. You might want to even go with, if you can afford that budget a little bit, maybe go with a little bit higher processor. Just because 3D animation requires a little bit of a processor, but it does require a lot more on the graphic card. 5060, 8 gigabyte. I don't know what titles you're playing. 8 gigabyte might be fine if you're playing a lot of titles that are a little less graphic intensive. If you're going with a lot more graphic intensive titles, then I would probably go 16 gig. You know, I think the 5060 comes in a 16 gig. You could probably go to that instead. Maybe spend a little bit more money there. Animation wise, it's going to be about the same. I mean, you know, you could also wait for a little bit longer for renders. It's not going to be too bad. But yeah, Ryzen's, if you're just giving those choices, I would say Ryzen 7 5700X would be a better choice. All right, let's get, let me see what I got going on here. Oh God, the way this lines up is so bad. You know what? It doesn't line up. You gotta lift it. Who does this? Cooler Master does this. Why is this not lining up? Wow. Poor design. Am I going blind? I can't see this. Let me hit the light on for a second. Let me just see if I'm not missing the light. The lineup. No, this doesn't line up. What the hell? You do a lot more 3D animation. Yeah, I would put a little bit more money into your graphic card, change up from 8 gig to like 16 gig just so that you can animate a little bit better. Damn, dude, return the case while you can. Case is kind of beautiful, but the airflow is... Oh, airflow is awesome. I don't know, awful, I mean. Really? There's like lots of holes in this case. Well, front part of the case. All right, I'm going to test the airflow next, but let's try to get the power supply. I can't even get the power supply mounted here. All right, there we go, got it. All right, so it does line up. It's just you got to lift it to get it in place. This is so stupid. All right, come on. I don't like this mount. It's horrible, right? Yeah, okay, Z Captain, you agree with me. This is horrible. This mount is horrible. If you want to mount downwards, it's like doesn't line up really that well. All right. I mean, yeah. Airflow. There's a lot of empty air. There's a lot of mesh here. Like, you know what I mean? Like, well, I took the panels off. This stuff came with it. This shit. The filter. So I you know, I don't know if you tried it without the filter. This filter is pretty bad. It's like really small. I could see this choking it off a little bit. It looks cool, but I would prefer, you know, just holes. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Oh God, where is the? What's under here? Okay. All right. Airflow is horrible. All right. Well, we'll do a quick test of the airflow. We're not going to go. This machine's not going to have like a lot of high-end parts in it. You know what I mean? Like it's. I keep saying no, like low end, but it's not that. It's not crazy. It's like a medium build workstation, so it's not like crazy. I mean, there's better cases I think out there for a few bucks more that you can definitely get. You know. Let's put in. Okay. Down to the wiring. This looks like a mess. Let's see what we got. Wiring. Okay. Oh, cable management. This will be my death of me in this case. I'm trying to see if there's a way to run this back behind and then come up through here. There's a little bit of room. I don't know if there's enough room to get. I can get through here. All right. We're going to do a little bit of cable magic here. We're just going to run stuff through the back. Oh, there's a filter on the bottom too. Okay. So the back of the case. What? Why are there feet? Okay. Well, I had to unscrew the feet to take the thing off. All right, this will be the only time we buy this one. I am finding this more stupid and more stupid every minute. We couldn't find a better way to mount this. All right, that comes off. All right. So the back, not that this is getting any better. You can mount it. Oh, you can put it. Oh, you can put it laying down. Okay. Oh, I see so many problems with that. If we lay that down, that means the plastic piece, the cheap plastic piece, is upwards. Some moron's gonna put their freaking monitor on that. I know they're gonna do it, and it's gonna fall through and then break all your shit. All right. Anyway, you know what? Let's move on. Let's get the cable through. That goes up there. I'm gonna try to put it back through everything and then where it's supposed to go. Actually, wait a minute. Is there room up here? There's like very little room to get the one for the CPU in there. I hate this case. Oh, the cable. Yeah, I'm just gonna attempt to. James, I'm only gonna keep it really simple here with the cable management. I'm not going totally nuts. I'm just gonna pop some stuff through back here so I don't have to see so much on the front of it. But honestly, this case is just so bad. Now I understand why you guys were complaining, because honestly, this thing is not that great. Even with long cables, like this power supply has very long cables, and I feel like it's still going to be short because the way it has to run, which is like towards the back here. This is all a mess now. What did I do here? I did not pull this through all the way through. Let's just. All right, I'm gonna have to cheat a little bit here and pull this back. What is with this power supply too? This is very raveled up. All right, okay, I'm just gonna straighten all this out. I'm gonna start zip tying stuff. Because this wire is like all wobbly. It's all cut up, which is weird. It's just getting caught on everything, so I'm just gonna tie it up. And we'll try to go through the other back side. I don't think it's gonna work. I think I'm gonna have too short of a cable. I know. Sorry, you guys, you can't see this. It's harder to reach this side without my hand going through the other way. Let's do this. Come on. Okay, there we go. Nice and tight, kind of. Clip these tails off, and yeah, go from there. All right. Okay, so basically, the wire here for the 26 pin, it's just going to go into the back, but I had to tie it up a little bit because it's kind of like loose. So it's like loose and floppy. So I'm just going to go that way. So we're just going to go back. We're going through the back of the board and then back around to the front. Just going to leave that forward for right now. And connect it. Connect. Connect it. And here we go. Come on. There we go. Okay. There's nothing wrong with the airflow in that case if you install the fans correctly and use proper fan curve. In that case, yeah. See, I don't think there's going to be an issue either. There's a lot of perforated holes. Everything's pretty big here. I think if you, well, number one, yeah, if your fans are definitely going the wrong direction, you're going to be competing against each other. But then this stupid thing, this little mesh filter thing, which looks cool. Don't get me wrong, I like the design. But it's really, really small holes. Like these are really, really small. And that's not going to allow a lot of airflow, where this would be a much better choice. But we'll check temperatures really quickly. I think it'll be probably fine for our builds, but yeah, like if you have a really high-end CPU or something, you probably would leave the filters off and just put all the air straight through. Yeah, positive or negative air pressure, whichever way you want to go on it. but you have to pick one. Like if you have a lot of stuff competing with each other, that's going to cause problems too. So you may end up with like really weird temperatures also if you do that. But just pick a direction, you know what I mean? Like in or out, you know what I mean? Like which way you want to go. I'm just going to put the CPU connection right now through. I'm sorry, I'm going to have to like not be able to get this on film because it's a pain to get up there. But I got it. Connecting it. Again, not very easy. This could have been avoided if we had a little more room at the top. But I did get it connected. It is there. Just not. Again, you know, on the back side of this, I got cables all over the place, which is not bad. It's just there's no tie down points except for over here. There's nothing over here on this side. So, oh, there is. It's underneath the flap, which is impossible to get to. All right, so you know, this is pointless. Back here, it's just gonna look the way it's gonna look. I'm gonna tie it all up to whatever I can over here. I'm not gonna bother with stuff that's underneath something that I can't really reach. There are some down here, but again, they're underneath this flap. So how do you expect to get your wire underneath and then with your finger? It's just stupid. This is a bad design. But I'm gonna get it done. We're gonna get it done. PCI Express, that's for your graphic card, which we have to still put in. Yeah, I'm not stressing over the cable match. I just want to make sure that it's kind of away from all the fans, and that's the more important thing. I'm not going to go too neat on it, especially for the back. The back doesn't really matter too much. The back is just kind of going to be hidden by a regular full cover anyway, so it's not that big of a deal. The only problem is the excess cable here is going to be definitely viewable right here, down here, because I'm not going to go putting that back there. I'm going to just kind of level this up down to the bottom, tie it up. I gotta still put a graphic card in, so that's gonna be a little bit of a chore. The graphic card we're using is just a simple AMD graphic card. It's a good question what it is. It's a Radeon 6500 XT. It's just a temporary card. That's not the one the customer's actually gonna get. We're taking the one out from the old machine, so we don't have the old machine. Obviously, it's still in use. But when we go to bring the machine down, we will swap it out, load the new driver. It's also going to be AMD also. That's the reason why I just chose an AMD card really quickly. Space-wise in here, you can fit a decent-sized graphic card if you're not doing any fans in the front. But that kind of defeats the purpose a little bit of airflow, but it's all right though. I mean, if you do have the room, and you can put another fan up here, it won't really intercept with this, you know. Actually, where are the mounts for that fan? Wait a minute. There's no mounts. It goes through the holes, I think? Wow. That's pretty friggin' dumb. Unless it's over here. Hold on one second. Sorry, guys. I'm just going to look and see if there's actually a mount area. No. So you mount your fans, I guess, through the holes. Well, that's dumb. That is... Okay, I see why that would be a problem, because it's not leaving a gap of space between the metal out here and the actual fan. So that means that the fan is going to be right up against the metal piece. It doesn't work as well that way. Let's just put it that way. You need a little bit of a gap between, and I mean little by like a few millimeters. Like a little bit of a gap between the front and the actual fan itself. And they have a hole here. That is so weird. Why? Am I going crazy? This goes over this. What's the point of that hole? Alright, doesn't make any sense. Alright, I mean you could mount fans here in the front. But if you mount fans here in the front, you're going to be right against the metal. It's just not going to work as well. I already know this before we even start, but okay. Let's... For intake, you need a little bit of space. But you need a little gap room between the actual metal itself that you're mounting to and the front part of the case. You should have a little bit of space there, and you just don't. There's also a weird hole that's down here, which doesn't make any sense. That goes to the front of the case, just a hole. So, all right, let's put in the graphic card. Let's try to actually get this thing booted. We're going to boot and load Windows 11. Down in there. Let's see, let's line up. It lines up to these two here. Okay. So let me get the front, get this off. This little flap piece thingy. Wow. Okay, so there's a little piece that holds the cards down. Should line up with this. Hopefully, I can pop this out without hurting myself. Lisa, yeah. Shall I put this on the list of cases never to use? Recommend again. This thing is kind of a certified model nightmare. Yeah, let's not put this on a buy again. Let's just, you know, we'll use it because we have it, but honestly, yeah, never again. Maybe we might even return it. We have like 2 systems to build with this case, so we might just take the other one and return it. Needs a second one. So yeah, let's put that on the list of no, not buy again. All right. So let's put this in the back panel. It's cheap for a reason, and I think we found the reasons. So, I'm not sure I get the graphic card lined up. I can't see that side. There we go. One click in place. Let's get some screws on this. Not that screw. We'll get this screw, 2 screws. Oh, you know what? Wait a minute. Yeah, I gotta put this one on first. I gotta put this stupid cover on first. Okay. Let's put the other one in. Okay. Well, the graphic card wasn't too bad. All right, so make sure you get the one that says PCI Express for your graphic card. This one's a 6-pin. We happen to luck out. I'm not going to really cable manage with this right now because there's no need. We are going to change the graphic card anyway. So we're just going to plug this in so at least we have something ready to go. Goes this way. And we're just going to tuck that over and out of the way for right now. Just kind of stay. Okay. All right. Well, I think we're ready for a boot test. God help us. All right, so let's flip this around. We'll hook this up for a boot and see if we got some life in this thing. Okay. Just rearrange some stuff here. Bear with me for a minute, guys. Sorry that you're just seeing the top of the unit. I'm literally just, the only thing I'm doing is just plugging in to the graphic card, HDMI, and just power, keyboard, mouse, which I don't have here. Oh my God, this thing's recessed. Ugh. Horrible. All right, keyboard, mouse. Oh, I grab a keyboard and mouse. Yeah. Keyboard, mouse. We don't need this on this way. So they're staring at the top of that. All right. So keyboard, mouse, cover. It's fine. All right. Mouse. Keyboard. All right. Let's flip over to camera 4. In the corner there. Okay. Power. All right. Let's all pray this doesn't go on fire. I'm just kidding. Let's power it up. Power. I have this reverse on me, which is horrible. I can't see anything. Okay, fans are running. Hopefully we can get to the BIOS. Hopefully it starts. It's doing a 2 reboot, which is probably its thing. It's a normal thing. Oh boy. Do we need a BIOS? No, there we go. Okay. Let's make this bigger so I can see what we're doing. New CPU installed. This is kind of normal. Startup, blah, blah, blah. F1, enter BIOS, which my keyboard does not have an F1, and I have to do that. Okay. BIOS setup, kind of typical. We're going to load up the newest BIOS. I have a flash drive that I'm going to load, that I have everything loaded onto already, Windows 11 and all that wonderful stuff. Let's just power, let's do the BIOS first. Turn. All right. When you're loading the BIOS, I always recommend use the one in the back, use the USB that's in the back of the unit, just because the one in the front, you know, you haven't really got a chance to test everything yet. So I don't know if the front panel connectors are good or if it's connected wrong. You don't want to have those problems. So just plug it into the back of the unit before you start. I have way too much stuff over here. Hold on one second, guys. So let me clean up the desk a little bit before I go forward. So I'm not totally going to drive myself nuts. All right, that's good enough. Yeah, that's fine. Okay. All right, so mouse is working, keyboard's working. Temperatures are good. Don't really care for all that stuff right now. Let's go to F7. By the way, if you noticed, I didn't close up the case yet. I usually wait till I'm fully done, and then I kind of close everything up to make sure that we're all good. Where did I miss? Where's the loader? Tool? All right, I'm gonna turn myself off here for a second. All right, yeah, there it is. Easy Flash Utility. I downloaded the BIOS, but I did not extract it. Oh, typical me. Okay, hold on one second. Let me fix that. Bear with me for a second. Let me switch back to here. Oh, wrong mouse. All right. Just plugged it in my other computer for a second. I just got to extract that file. I forgot to do that. So, talks amongst yourselves. I will extract this really quickly and put it on the main drive. Put it over here and rename it. Key. Okay. All right. Take 2. Let's try this. Plug it back in. I don't know if it's going to just pop up. There it goes. All right. So I have a camp camp file? Cap file, sorry. Cap file. B760, this is the motherboard we're doing. We don't have BitLocker, but if you have BitLocker installed, you should probably back up your key constantly anyway. So we're just going to hit yes on this. Do you want to read the file? Yes. Do you want to update? Yes. How many times do we have to say yes? I don't know. But we're going. Okay. So this may take a few minutes. It's going to clear the database, blah, 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 process it, install it, etc. When you're updating your BIOS, just make sure you're not updating during like a lightning storm or bad electricity. You should also load up a BIOS only when you're on like a UPS battery or something like that. Just in case if the power goes out, it has enough time to complete the BIOS update. Some motherboards have flashback. Some motherboards don't have a dual BIOS. So this motherboard I doubt has a dual BIOS. It may have that feature. I'm not sure. I forgot. So, but let's not try to test that. You know, let's try to make sure to do this the right way the first time. Updating. All right, we're going. BIOSes take a little bit of time to update. They always do. It takes about like maybe 2-3 minutes to totally process. Is that fan running? Fan's running. Okay, good. The fan that comes with this case, I probably wouldn't recommend. I think the airflow, it just sucks because if you try to put a fan in the front or on the top to exhaust, you're going to have a hard time to get that fan to perform well if it's like right up against the metal, which is why they usually have a little bit of a space between, you know, the metal piece and the actual fan mount. So, that being said, it's not bad airflow, it's just not great. You know, it is going to hinder your fans a little bit. So if you spend a little more money on fans, but if you're going to buy that route, why buy this case? I think you're probably better off with a different case. Oh, F1 again. Yeah, sure. All right, we're back in the BIOS. Just want to check the temperatures, make sure that the motherboard temperature, the CPU temperature is not running away. That means that you get the fan connected properly. We're going to want to turn on XMP. So let's do F7. Do not set the date and time. It's pointless because when you go into the operating system, it's going to change it anyway. So don't bother. If you want, you can mess with all your performance tuning. There's a whole bunch of stuff that you can do here. Let me get rid of me for a second. So let's see, UEFI, it's fine. Really, I think it's just XMP. Q fan configuration. You could set this up if you want to set to like more faster speeds or less speeds. Let's see. Boot. Fan speed seems fine. Temperature monitor. That's okay. Make sure secure boot's on. British WT Main says hi. Well, hi, of course. And you also have a question. I have a 5700 X3D. Will it bottleneck a 5070 Ti? Do you mean... Well, these two things are two separate things. One is a processor. Your 5700 X3D, it's not going to bottleneck your 5070 Ti. You're talking about two different things. GPU is different than your CPU. So if your program is running mostly on GPU, then it will obviously use the full extent of your 5070 Ti. If it's not, then you'll be on your CPU. It really depends on how the program is really written, or what application you're talking about. If you're talking about just productivity, like just regular apps, then your CPU is going to be your lowest common denominator out of that. You know, not really your GPU. But I guess it really depends what you're running. Why don't you tell me what you're running, and then I can kind of get like what program you're running that really needs to be fast. Security set? Security? No, we don't need that. Why is my mouse sticking? All right. Let me just take a quick look through. Dynamic lighting. We don't need lighting. Where the hell's memory on this thing? PC configuration, CPU. You know, maybe I'm going to go back to the simple one. XMP right here. Enable. Yeah, that's fine. We're not going to do Intel Rapid Storage. Let's go also change boot order. Standard is fine. You know what? Do they have that stupid program thing? The thing that tries to auto install. Does Zeus have that garbage? Maybe they don't. Maybe we get lucky. APM. No. Thermal. Express configuration. Ah, that's good. Miscellaneous. Miscellaneous. No. All right. Okay. XMP is on. Is this performance tune? I don't know about this performance enhancement. That always never seems to work right, so we're just going to ignore that. Everything else is okay. It's fine. Zeus driver hub. Oh, this thing. That's what I want off. Tool. They put in there a tool. It's not a tool. It's crap. All right. So save changes and reset. There we go. Okay, there we go. Fine. All right. Zeus has Armory Crate. Not sure about this, but yeah, I hate Armory Crate. We try to avoid all that stuff whenever we can. I mean, if a customer wants it, they can certainly install it, or we can install it for them. But I usually leave it out. I try to avoid that. Plus, their like tool that they have for downloading all of their software drivers, it's kind of heavy and not something I really like. So that's why we try to turn it off. All right, so we're in Windows 11 setup. We're ready to go. Just you choose your language and your formats. US, install, yes, agree, of course. Like we really have a choice. We're not going to enter a product key right now. We will activate it with the proper product key, but since we're on stream, I don't want to have to like go in and out of things. To do that, we're going to do Windows 11 Pro because that's what we're setting up. Agree to the agreement because you have no choice. Unless you don't want to use Windows. Searching for the disks. Hopefully this finds it without a problem. If you have multiple disks at this point, you may want to unplug any disks that you are not wanting to erase. So you don't just accidentally erase a disk. In this case, it's only showing the USB flash drive and it's showing the main drive, which is a 500 gigabyte drive. So we're going to just choose the main one, which has nothing allocated to it. We're going to hit next. We're going to let it do its normal partition setup. This is our normal setup for like keeping everything on C drive. If you want to have a D drive or want to partition the disk, you'd want to do it in that last step. We're going to keep nothing. We're going to install, yes. And we're starting the installation process, the real fun process of dealing with waiting for this to go. Lisa, thank you about the XMP. I found it. Yeah, it was on the main screen. It was also under Tools, which is weird. too. I don't know why it was there. Or was tools the other program? Well, it doesn't matter. It was found, it's turned on. So we're installing. This is going to take a few times. It's going to reboot a few times. It's going to install. It will reboot. This is an ASUS motherboard. It may actually reset the BIOS to the proper boot drive. If it doesn't, we'll have to go in there and set it up to boot off of the proper drive on the next reboot. So it doesn't boot off the flash drive. We want it to boot off the main drive and then unpack and install the rest of it. It's going to be a little bit of time. 48%, not bad. It's going. $52. Windows. There it goes. It's catching up. And we're almost there. Okay. We're in the first reboot. I'm just going to hit the delete key to go back to the BIOS, just to make sure we're in the proper boot, proper hard drive. We're booting off of, yeah, it already says Windows Boot Manager over there to the right here. So we're all set. So we can just hit escape or F10 or anything to get out of the system. F10. F10. Yep, sure. Okay, we should be into Windows. And here we go. Of course, it's installing more crap. It will take a few seconds. And we're installing. Hard drive light working? Yeah, the hard drive light is working. Yeah, we'll just keep waiting. Ugh. So my thoughts on this case, you know, for the price, it's not bad. It's just not great. For a few bucks more, you could get something a little bit better built. Airflow, it looks fine. There's really no issue here. We're only going to have one fan in the unit. This one fan that it comes with is kind of really crappy. I would probably change it out for pretty much anything else. You know, you can get a Be Quiet fan, Noctua. You know, there's a whole bunch of different companies that do good fans. I would probably change it out to one of those. You'd probably have a little bit better airflow. I'd also leave the filters off if you can, just because the filters are really small, and it's just going to block all the airflow from going into the case itself. I also don't like the fact that it's a plastic cover on one side. It really should be glass. The feet on the bottom don't make any sense. I don't think anybody's going to put in that type of layout, but I could be wrong. We're just installing Windows, so I'm just basically clicking through. I said I don't have internet. I'm lying. I just want to do a local user account. That's why we're doing that. Just going to put B1 for the user. You should put a password if you want. All right. What power supply unit did we use? We used, let me get exactly the right one. We used the Thermaltake 700 watt Smart Series power supply. So this one. It's also in the description. Also, it should be in the description if you want to like link to it and see more product information. If you're doing a higher end graphic card, that is not the power supply to use. You should be using something maybe with like a gold standard at least, because then you're going to save a little bit when you hit that 80% mark. That's an 80 plus, it's not bad, but an 80 gold at least would be a little bit better for you if you want to use something, you know, with a higher end graphic card that you know is going to consume more power. This is a very minimal system, so that's why we're okay with that. Almost there. Almost where? Oh, there we go. Okay. So we're in the Windows. I did not connect the network card. There's a reason for that. We're just going to leave that disconnected until I get the drivers in at least. I already have the drivers on the flash drive. So we just have this one B1 folder. Just going to copy that. Put that down to our main drive. Just going to copy everything over. Just take a few seconds. There it goes. And we're just going to go into drivers. We're going to install the drivers 1 through 1. This is the BIOS. We don't need that. So we're just going to extract all of these on the main computer. At this point, I don't need the flash drive. I can unplug that. Just one driver at a time. To get the drivers, I just looked them up on, on the web, on the motherboard manufacturer's website, because that's mostly all the drivers that we need. The only other ones I had to get was the AMD graphic card driver, which I just went to AMD's website, got it from the support area. We have another video, I think, on how to obtain drivers for your motherboard and stuff like that. So if you want, you can go back through that catalog. If it's not up there yet, we will definitely do a new one. We probably have to refresh it because it's been a while. RST, I'm just going to continue on through. I'm not going to wait for every driver because that's just going to take forever. So we'll just do RST setup. That little warning just means that I'm not connected to the internet, so I can't check the file. It doesn't really matter. I've already pre-scanned all of this stuff before we install. That's what we do before we do creating the disk. Rapid storage, I don't think we even need that. D drive. I don't think we need to do anything with D drive. Let that go. All right, now we're just going to move on to the next one, serial I/O. Silent install is fine. Okay. Bluetooth adapter, yeah, that's fine. Just set up. Wi-Fi. Is this waiting on something? No, it's done. Okay. Wi-Fi, finishing that. Realtek audio. I'm saving the AMD driver for last because I have to connect the internet to get the AMD driver to run for its graphic card as well as for the motherboard. Not for the motherboard, I'm sorry. Just for the graphic card. So waiting on that. That time looks like it's actually kind of close, but it's still a little off. It's probably going to change the minute I plug in the Ethernet. I'm going to plug the Ethernet in at this point, get the internet going. It's going to probably download a whole bunch of garbage, which it always does. It's going to search for a display driver. We don't need to do that. We're just going to install this one. Hopefully before Windows picks it up, but I have a feeling Windows is going to do it anyway. We don't need this. Don't need that. We're going to install Chrome. That's what the customer wants, is Chrome. Express, sure. Ooh, that's slow. There it goes. Almost going. I'm not going to sign in right now. I'm going to set it as default for sure. Set default. That's fine. Garbage. Boom. Now, of course, the time is wrong, so this always has the wrong time zone. It always sets to like California time or whatever. So, time and language, time. Where's the location? Where are you? Time zone. Okay. Eastern. Sync. That's the correct time. Alright, I'm just installing that display driver. Gonna need to reboot in a few minutes, but we're gonna wait. It's gonna blink a little bit, that's normal. That's just basically the driver loading for AMD. It's gonna refresh a few times. It's gonna act funny until that's fully done. Almost done. Yeah, that's fine. Okay. Alright, so we should do a reboot. Let's wait for Adrenaline software to pop up. Just going to skip the setup. I'm just going to manage the updates really fast. Everything looks good. We want to keep it automatic. Yes. Can't see what I'm doing. There we go. Alright, just going to do a quick reboot. And then we're going to remove some bloatware. And then we're pretty much done with this build. Just gotta button everything up, maybe do a little extra cable management. Graphic card wise, that's gonna be changed, so we're gonna take that out. And then we gotta install a whole bunch of stuff for the customer that needs to be done. By the way, the case is not bad. Again, for the cost, it's not that bad. I just would probably buy another one of these if I didn't have to. That whole power supply connection thing was a little weird. That was kind of annoying. I have to take the metal piece out to just put the power supply in. It did line it up correctly, that's fine, but then there's a little small gap between the back of the case and the actual power supply. So there's like a little indent that's there. That's just gonna collect dust. That's the other issue we kind of have with it. You know, it's a little spot for dust and other stuff to get into. It's kind of annoying. It doesn't need to be there, you know. Let's change this to warp pins. Let's flip all this garbage off. Windows PowerShell. Just gonna run our script really quick to get rid of all the bloatware. Windows 11. Looks like I gotta change that. That's supposed to be bypass. Anyway, whatever. Remove bloatware. Give me that, John. Now let's wait a few seconds while it removes all that stuff it installed. There we go. Yeah, that's a little better. Still linked in. LinkedIn. Microsoft Store. I don't think this Outlook is supposed to be in here. This is the new one, which sucks. Edge. Pin. And we should probably do updates as well. Just, you know, run those. Just double check that. Okay. That's gonna take forever. But that's basically it. I mean, you know, after this, it's kind of customization, closing up the case really quickly, which is just screwing all that stuff back in. It is now changing my graphic card driver again, which I'm going to kill it for that. Did it change the driver? I think it changed the driver because it blinked. Okay, well, I have to reinstall that again. But anyways, that's a system build. This is the new Cooler Master case. Again, probably not going to buy this one again. This might be the only one that we're going to actually go with for now. I kind of like the Johnsbow case better. I kind of also like the for the size. The Johnsbow case was a little bit smaller than this, but it was easier to build in. The pieces were easier to build in. It was easier to take apart. It was the Johnsbow C6. If you guys are interested in that one, I'd probably recommend that over the other one. If you have a very long graphic card, though, the Johnsbow C6 won't work for you. You'll need probably something more like, you need something bigger, like a Thermaltake H17 or an H18 is pretty big. Those are the ones that we like, but they're very plain. So if you really want plain, that's kind of what we go for. If you want something a little more flashy, Thermaltake has another one that we did. We did a Thermaltake, what was it? It was really a large case. We did it for Zark. I can't remember the name. Why am I having a hard time remembering the name? RGB large case. Why do I have a bad time remembering this stupid thing? I think it was the V250. No, it was the V250. It was the V200, I think. TG. It was really large. I mean, the thing had like three. It has like 3 fans in the front. It's insane. There's a V200 maybe. So, but if you want something that has a lot of room, that's your choice to go with. But it's really big, really heavy. We actually did a build on it, a live build on that. So if you go back through our live category, you could actually find that if you're interested in that, and you can see how large that is and how many components we had to put in. I think we also had a follow-up video because the RGB wasn't working right on the fans, and we had to like buy a special little adapter to make it work with like the rest of the RGB that was in the system. So if you're interested in that, that's also okay. That one had really good airflow. That one was like, it came with like 4 fans, something crazy. It was like 4 fans. It had like 3 fans on the front and then one exhaust in the back. Yeah, it was insane. So, all right, guys, this is going to take forever to install. I don't think you guys want to watch me just watch a progress bar. It's not that exciting. So, to wrap up, this case is not bad. Again, I probably wouldn't buy this thing again. I think it's fine for a really inexpensive build. It's probably fine. Airflow, I don't know what. Some people were saying the airflow is an issue. I could see maybe there's an airflow issue if you have the fans installed wrong or if you have the filters on. If you put the filters on, I could see maybe a little bit of an airflow restriction. But you could just take the filters off. Putting the fans onto the main part of the case, they are a little. There's no bracket; it's going straight onto the metal, which is a negative. The power supply definitely was annoying, but the rest of it was okay. That was kind of like the normal stuff. It does have a lot of room in the back for cable management, which I may have to go back through and do. The tie downs are not in the best spot, but they do work. I mean, it's a tie down. So, but yeah, that's it for now. The next build, I'm not sure when it's going to be out, but we will have some other videos coming out very shortly. They're in the works. I just haven't had the time to edit everything. But we have some educational videos, so stay subscribed to that. If you aren't already, do subscribe. Our live builds are whenever we have a customer build, which we will have. I think servers are coming up next. So we do have some workstations that have to be replaced. I think we have like 2 or 3 just straight out replacements. So that they may not be live streamed because they're like just like mini forms and stuff. All right, till the next time, guys. Brian, I'm going to sign off, and we'll see you guys soon. Have a good one.